Not sure if many of you know, but we do have a virtual tier within the Design Coven virtual pro member tier, which includes 3 virtual meetings a month where we set intentions. We do group coaching. So bring all your questions. We answer those questions and you get to learn from other people going through the same struggles as you. We also do a business practice meeting. So we'll have somebody on to share a business practice that we can all benefit from. And then we also do a product training. So getting a sustainable, eco-friendly line to come on, share who they are so that we can be supported with other like-minded businesses. And if you're not quite ready for pro, you can always join our free community where you will connect with other like-minded holistic interior designers. You don't have to be an interior designer if you are kind of just dabbling or you're aspiring or you're looking into this field. We invite everybody from all journeys, and you don't, again, have to be a designer. You don't have to have a degree. We're just a beautiful community of like-minded people looking to create healing spaces, not just for ourselves, but for our clients and future clients. Come join us at designcoven.com/join. You're listening to the Holistic Interior Design Business Podcast. This is a podcast that guides you as a new or inspiring independent interior designer navigating your entrepreneurial path. Here, with my over 20 years experience, I will share my holistic approach to design with intention and ancient practices, including feng shui, all incorporating mind, body, and spirit into my design projects. You will also learn from seasoned interior designers as they give strategies and insight of how they built their businesses and continue to work in the field. Together, we will discover supportive trade partners, new ideas, creatives, and inspiring artists from around the world. I am your host, Rachel Lorraine Crawford. Hello there. Welcome back to the Holistic Interior Design Business Podcast. And we have Josh Kemble on with us today. I'm super excited. We're going to talk a bit about kitchen design, food, and music, and all those beautiful things. Welcome, Josh. Alrighty, so let me go ahead and set our space. I'm going to go ahead and light our candle here. Just setting intention of connection and creativity and all those beautiful things. Being present and mindful. And the deck I'm pulling from the Radiant Crystal deck. So we are going to pull a crystal, see what we've got.
Okay.
And fidget here for us. Ooh, labradorite. Strength, transformation, and intuition.
Oh.
This is one of my favorite crystals. This is opening up that third eye. It's connected to Scorpio, which I know you're a Scorpio.
Yeah.
And the affirmation here is, I welcome transformation into my life. So we've got some beautiful transformation going on. Labradorite is one of those crystals where it's about, believing in the unseen, magic, mystery, all of those delicious things.
That sounds fun.
Yeah, I love it. I designed a theater, and at the bar we had a labradorite wall. It was just a huge slab of labradorite, and we did the wall backsplash and on the countertop. It's stunning because it's got like these flashes, and you can only see them in different angles. It was really cool.
Oh,
very
nice.
beauty.
Is that in San Diego?
Yeah, it's an Encinitas.
It's cool.
Yeah, super rad. All right, Josh, what's home for you?
What's home? I think I feel most at home when I can feel like the love and energy from my family and friends, or even sometimes I'm at home in the kitchen sometimes, most of the time actually, but but I feel home, like building a home, like even if it's in my studio or something like that. It's like comfort.
Yeah.
And there's maybe always some like drinks at my disposal or food I can snack on or make for somebody, and then also just making hospitality happen in the home, even if it's hospitality for your own family. I think people take that for granted sometimes, that you're supposed to be hospitable to your own family members, whether it's kids or parents or spouses or whatever. Yeah, because sometimes I feel like people are more hospitable to their pets than their family sometimes.
Absolutely. I love that you pointed that out. Just even in making our dinners, our family dinners, and presenting it in a way for our own family
Yeah.
It's huge.
Yeah. I mean, it's since it's like what I do for work.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I would expect anyone else in the family to make a dinner for me or something like that. Like I expect to come and make it. So if it is already made or whatever, or if somebody wants to help, then that's a bonus for home, for me feeling at home. I'm obviously coming home tired from events or whatever, but I actually enjoy cooking and making stuff and even cleaning up the mess for the family, because it's my part, it's my piece of this puzzle, kind of, I guess, in a certain way, because I mean, not only for the fact that I'm like quote unquote better at doing it, but it's more like I can also teach them. I can also show them that it's look, I'm tired, but I'm doing this and I like it. You know what I mean? It brings me joy. And I think it brings peace into the house too, because it can be a little chaotic if you don't know how to cook in the kitchen, or if you make a mess and don't know how to clean it up. It creates more chaos.
That's like me in the kitchen.
Yeah, sure. I mean, that's kind of normal though. Like, people forget to do things here and there, and it creates other chaos moments. But I think since I know what I'm doing, I can lessen that chaos a little bit, and I'm trying to like lessen my own chaos. So I think it's helpful to do that for the family too, and that's a form of hospitality.
Beautiful. I love it. So tell us your origin story getting into the world of food and music, and how all that really...
Oh man. Okay. So I just think that my family, on the Mexican side of my family, is very sing-songy in the kitchen and stuff like that. Always just growing up as with, I mean, I guess any ethnicity or any family could do that, but I only know mine. So there's always singing in the kitchen, and or music playing and dancing while they're cooking and stuff like that. And I think that I didn't realize it till later, but that really stuck with me for enjoying food or meals or parties or anything like that, because there's always like music blaring or singing or dancing with that. And I think that helped me enjoy the food more and build more experiential memories of a dish, even if it's just like a street food or lowly food or whatever. It's like those things that become comfort foods come from maybe family traditions, whether good or bad, and so that stuck with me for food. And then after kind of later in high school, I started a band with a bunch of friends from the school, and we eventually ended up on tour on the road, and we didn't have money to go out to eat all the time, so I would end up cooking at people's houses or parties or whatever.
Oh my gosh, okay. Very cool.
So like barbecues or whatever the case may be, just because we had to eat. So if we stayed at someone's house, they also didn't have a lot of money, so they're like, hey, well, I'll go get some hamburgers or chicken or whatever. And so I would end up on the grill or in the kitchen or always helping clean up. But it brought back fond memories of growing up in the kitchen, kind of alongside like grandparents who were always mostly retired and cooking, and because they're trying to feed a whole big family all the time. But
right.
So that stuck with. And then of course between music tours or whatever, it's like the food service industry and hospitality industry always has jobs available for any level of talent, so dishwashing, busboy, server, barista, bartender, all this kind of stuff. So I did all of it, and because I could hold a job for whatever time between going on the road again. And then I just kept liking it and doing more stuff and learning more things and going to school for it. And so between that and figuring out that I actually like cooking and enjoy it and doing stuff like that, I started consulting and helping other people with menus or recipes or just working in other people's kitchens. And then it was fun. And then by the time we ended up getting married, Lisa and I, her college roommate, had started this nonprofit org in San Francisco to help previously incarcerated youth get jobs in the restaurant industry. And we're like, whoa, that's crazy. And so my wife, being a therapist and counselor, and her college roommate's like, you guys got to come up here, and you guys, because we're in San Diego, and she's like, you got to come up here and help us do this. And we're like, no. And then finally, after like 3 years, we finally just pulled the plug out down here, took our 3 babies, moved up to San Francisco, and helped open
what
this
year was
old
this?
School cafe. This must have been 2007 that we did that.
Okay.
That we moved up there and we were there for 3 exact years, and we built restaurant training program, a full transformed a building into a restaurant, like built it with the students, the 16 to 24 year olds, foster care kids from the neighborhood, this really impoverished part of the city of San Francisco. Basically, they helped build the restaurant, and my job was to just show them all the positions in the industry.
Got it.
So we'd get them stages at we worked at like Twitter for a week and Google and all the places that are in San Francisco. We got them jobs or mentors, and then whether it's, and I knew that not everyone wants to cook or can wanted to learn that out because they all have different styles. So it really helped me develop as a chef and as a restaurant builder or whatever, that every single person is important to building that kitchen and building the menu and everything like that, because we need dishes or we can't make food. We need a menu or we can't sell the food. We need a good hostess or we can't bring people to eat. Good marketing team. So we were training them on all these things on how to really make the restaurant successful. Yeah, it was crazy to think about now that I talk about it to you. It's like, wow, I wasn't just training the chefs. I was, we were helping with life coaching and getting them real jobs and in the industry all around the Bay Area and stuff like that. So,
and just giving
then
them
we came
an
back.
opportunity to discover, right? To discover all these different
and
jobs
it's still up and running. It's it's totally cool. It's a totally nonprofit organization, but it's a restaurant, and they're open, for business still. Still to this, they just celebrated 10-year anniversary of being open, so that's really cool. And some of the kids I stay in touch with, Old School Cafe.
Okay.
So that it's like a 40s jazz supper club, Harlem Renaissance kind of place. So live music, so there was we were teaching people how to book the bands and work with booking agents and stuff like that. So there's live music and chef training and bartender training. So it's the whole 9 yards. We got to teach also, but we worked with interior designers and architects to build it and to do the whole thing too. So that's a lot more training, than you get in chef school. And then we came back to San Diego, and there was still more work to do. There's still more kids that need help, and so started with another nonprofit down here called Urban Life, and that there's a nonprofit here in San Diego, or Kitchens for Good. So just continuing to train and because I learn more from training. I learn from my students, because every single person is different. I find some that have similarities to me or to other people or whatever, but I really have to adapt to train multiple students instead of just having one apprentice or something like that. So it's been fun, and I still continue to work with nonprofits now because I feel like it's important.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so now can you tell us a bit about your current kitchen and what you guys are doing? Yeah,
sure. So executive chef at Harvest Kitchen, which is a boutique catering company. We got a food truck. We're in San Diego. We moved from Barrio Logan to North County for more space. But we do try to be sustainable as possible with compostable stuff, or kind of that trendy buzzwords of that, but it's also actually pretty important. It's pretty important to us as a company, grass-fed beef and using as much organic produce as possible from local farmers as much as possible. We really try to, and I really try to train that into my new cooks and chefs and stuff, why that's important, for not only for next generation, but to just keep the economy alive in San Diego, and learning who our farmers are, or our ranchers, or anybody doing our stuff. Anybody working with us, I want to really know them, especially if we're going to partner up with a beer company for a dinner, or a coffee or liquor company or anything like that. So it's mainly caterings and weddings and stuff, but we do lots of fun events. We do a lot of fun events, big fun events, music festivals, or corporate,
Very cool.
Dr. Bronner's 500 person party or whatever. So we like to have fun with it. And then I still make it a point to partner with Kitchens for Good and other nonprofit orgs, and just kind of give back in that sense by maybe training their staff to come and, do some cooking classes or whatever. So I still feel like it's really important, no matter where I am, to be hospitable, to the community.
Absolutely. And I wanted to bring you on to talk about, kitchen design. We've got some members in our membership group that are interested in kind of going into the world of hospitality. And I think what's, so important, especially with hospitality and back of the house, is understanding the operations of the kitchen and having that be function first over the aesthetics. I think we kind of get sucked into the beauty and
you know, food and all this is so, you know, glamorous, kind of like interior design. It's also glamorous and we see all the beautiful things. But,
Totally.
you know, one of the most important things of all of it is the functionality of making sure it works, not just in the kitchen, but also, you know, with staff being able to get the food out to the patrons and to get things running.
Exactly.
It's definitely a machine.
Yep.
So can you touch a little bit about maybe some important features or some mistakes that you've seen or anything that you can kind of give advice on designing in this space?
Yeah, there's so much really depending on, like, if you're starting from a square, like an empty box, you know, of a place to going into somebody like a turnkey operation that's already there. So anywhere in between there, it's like I've seen designs for like empty building transformations to they build this really rad stuff. We got all these local partners from San Diego doing the bar and the coffee and the blah blah blah.
Right.
And I look at it, I'm like, you didn't draw in a refrigerator. You didn't draw in space to hold all these cool kegs. So the design looks awesome. Everything looks rad.
Yeah.
But you need refrigerator space. You need a trash area. There's this. Sometimes it's the details, but like, and I'm not even the most detail oriented person, but those are the things I look for first. Is like, okay, where are you going to put that? Where are you going to put all this rad stuff you're doing? So that's one thing, is just kind of like, you know, I guess you would call that maybe like the storage or something like that, you know, for that part of it, because it's not really part of the aesthetic design, but it's really, really hard to operate or impossible to operate a rad beer place with no refrigerator. What? Yeah, they have the most amazing bathroom in San Diego, but the plumbing sucks, you know, so there's just so much that goes into that part of it. But that's more like maybe like the build out. If you're talking specifically design, like if you, as a chef, when I kick the door open to the kitchen or whatever and look in, I want to see everyone that has, hopefully they have space to work. Like if it's prep, hopefully there's space. Hopefully there's a place to rinse things off. You know what I mean? It's hopefully there's a good flow around the prep tables to the workspace, to the refrigerator or the exit or the trash area or whatever. Hopefully there's that, because there's actually a lot of cramped kitchens and unusable spaces that that should be transformed, not only for health reasons, but just for like ease of work, you know, like a little bit of elbow room if possible. I know that's a lot to ask for sometimes, but like you got to be able to work. You got to be able to like cut things and make a mess and not get it on everything else. You know what I mean? So exactly. So that's part of it. And a lot of it does have to do with, on your end, is like, you know, I don't know if people still say like the feng shui of it all. Like the where the door is compared to the windows and that kind of stuff. But like as chefs or cooks, you know, who are working for someone else, you don't always have the say in that. So you kind of have to build your space, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I was just thinking about that when these designers come on board, and I don't know what your experience has been when somebody is doing a build out. Do they consult with you, or have you had projects where they do consult with you, and how did that go? And versus, you know, projects where they design it and then they're like, okay, now you get in here and work, and it doesn't.
Yeah. Cause a lot of times it's like an owner or like a first time, they're like, I want to open a restaurant or a coffee shop or a bar or whatever the case may be, something in the food service or hospitality industry. And, but they are not from the industry. So they're like switching careers, and they just kind of wanted to get into this. So like, and that's really cool. But sometimes they become the designer or the person in charge of going to the city for all the planning and stuff like that. So like, obviously without having that experience, it's hard and it takes a lot more work to get into it. But like, obviously also if they're not, say, a chef or like a barista or roaster or whatever the case may be, I feel like it's important to call in your community and your troops and like get everyone's help on board, and you know, pay them as much as possible if you can, because it's very important to have multiple eyes on a project like that. Because like I said, like if they are consulting me for whatever, if they just say, hey, can you check this out, you know, and I'm looking at it and I like it, the first thing I see is that there's no fridge, you know, it's like, that's a huge thing. The city might not care if you have, you know, that this the same thing that the chef cares about, you know, or whatever. There's just so many multiple examples of that. But if I'm brought on as a design consultant or whatever, I want to make sure that the staff is taken care of also, because that's more of like, I'm more my team. The customers, they'll get the best experience possible, and then you can always add beautifications like subway tiles or whatever you want to do, right? Whatever the trendy look is of or just
Right.
plain white walls or whatever. But like
Yeah,
that's kind of like, to me, that's kind of cosmetic at just a certain degree. It's like, will the staff be able to complete the task based on your design?
yeah.
And if,
And then
you
that's
know,
the role of the designer, right? Is to make sure it's functional, not just beautiful, but it has to work.
I think so, yeah. Because I mean, a lot of people think the
Absolutely.
design is probably just the look or the
Yeah.
aesthetic or the cosmetic, and which is great. And there's some really rad places in San Diego, of course. But like, you go behind the scenes, and then you kick open the kitchen door and the door is hitting somebody in the elbow, and they're like, they do
Yeah.
this. You know what I mean? So sometimes it's kind of like your eyes being bigger than your stomach with food. Sometimes it's like,
Hmm.
we make this this beautiful facade, and then I don't know, it's like it's almost like
Yeah,
in the
you
kitchen, like
just,
cheating, like buying all your food pre-made or whatever. It's like, they don't really,
yeah,
where I'm headed. Like they're not making the food; they're just making it look good.
they're just prepping it all and putting it together.
Kinda,
That
yeah.
almost reminds that. Yeah, it kind of makes me want to do almost like a workshop of like showing these examples. Okay, this is why this doesn't work. Like what you said, going behind the scenes and really dissecting and analyzing the spaces that don't work and why they don't work. And it's you're a huge asset for any designer that's going to go into this world, because I mean, just the mistakes that you'll catch off the bat and the money, being saved by bringing someone on like you. It's priceless, really. It's having somebody in the industry. You've been in the industry for decades, having that knowledge. You just can't gain that in, a few hours of trying to design a kitchen for the first time.
Right. I mean, I guess you could. It's like some of it's common sense, but some of it's stuff you might not even think of. Like,
But yeah,
you
they
know,
would never think of
you
that.
put the sprayer right here, and you're about to spray all the dirty dishwater on your food or whatever the case may be. It's
Yeah.
just like things that won't get thought about. Basically, they'll get overlooked. But everything is going to look beautiful in the front. Or the front door is going to be amazing. The coolest front
Right.
door in the world. But yeah, I know what you mean. I don't know that I have all the experience of a designer per se. Of course, I'm not an architect or a planner or anything like that. But I can.
No, it's
see
more
the-
of the
I can see the-
functionality.
Yeah, I can see the flow. I do like to go into a ritual I have in the kitchen is sometimes if I'm the first one there, I love the quiet and the cold of that, and then I don't even really play music sometimes, because sometimes I'll
That's
play like
nice.
really like loud and abrasive music to like kind of that, which actually helps me center because of I have ADD, I have ADHD, whatever you want to call it, and then the loud music actually makes me focus on something.
Oh, wow.
So sometimes if I don't have the music on, that means my thoughts are just kind of like swirling all around the kitchen, and I think of all the day's tasks and or the design, like, oh, I wish this would have changed or whatever the case may be. I can
Yeah.
get bombarded
Yeah.
by the silence. I can get like overwhelmed by the stuff that has to be done because I'm not focusing on
Mm.
whatever, on one thing or two things, or we call it hyper focus in the ADD world. But
Got it.
so the ritual would be that I go in and it's quiet and I look around and I listen to the silence a little bit, and I kind of let myself like I guess I just let myself kind of breathe in the room and kind of become in that, because if I just jump right from my car and I have my coffee and I walk in, I'm like, what's up everybody, let's go. Like,
Yeah.
you can do that too, but it's definitely a different energy
It's a
for me,
different
speaking
energy,
for me
for sure.
personally. It's like boom, and everyone's like, whoa, what's up? It's like I don't
It's a shock.
I'm not like high on drugs or cocaine or whatever, like but I'm just like, I come in and like they're like, ew, what, you're so high, so crazy, because they're just in there, it's all quiet, it's chill, and sometimes I don't want to break that vibe, but sometimes I really want to kick in there and wake them up and stuff like that. So if I'm the first one there, though, I don't really need to
Got
kick
it.
in that crazy energy right like at 5 a.m. or whatever,
Mhm.
or if I'm the last one there, I don't really have to be as energetic or whatever. So I think that sometimes with the design, like a dark room can be really macabre or whatever, like a really bright room with natural sunlight can really bring up the energy of people. It's depending on that person.
Yeah.
Like, and I know for a fact that if my wife, who's an art therapist, designs a room, it's going to be almost all natural light, all very light, bright, tons of plants and beautiful artwork. Whereas if I designed it to be a little bit more like, this kind of stuff behind like darker colors, rock and roll, coffee and beer kind of stuff. So it's just like the energy of our own personality should come out in the design a little bit, but yeah, I think that if it was my design or whatever in the kitchen or the building, I would be able to enjoy my own energy a little bit more, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. I love you talking about, bringing in that ritual. What other, I know you spoke a little bit about the music centering you. Do you do anything else that kind of gets you grounded or centered, keeps you in that space?
Yeah, I mean, it's a challenge to honestly to like meditate or just be still. Maybe sometimes on the car ride to work, I have it totally quiet, like no, I'm also in the podcast world, so I tend to listen to a lot of podcasts or whatever. But then I realized after a while, I was like, it's just like I'm just hearing the same voices over and over. It's like talking, and I just really could use some silence right now or whatever. I do. And that's a real challenge to like really listen to myself, hearing that or tell myself that I need to not hear that or whatever. It's like sometimes the silent ride is like really refreshing. For me, so that's kind of a ritual. I try to do that maybe once a week, just be silent the whole way there and back, and because I don't ride with anyone in the car, so I can just be really quiet and even speak out loud, like what am I hearing, or whatever. It's just me. So that's a thing. And then I think with the music part, sometimes if I'm off or if I'm not working, I'll actually just play an instrument or come into the studio and record something with music, my actual podcast is food and music pairings. So I am like, I really try to make it a point to say, what music am I feeling when I make this drink or drink this coffee or whatever the case may be. So I do a lot of actual food and music pairings in real life as the chef.
Yeah, that's amazing.
I try to do it. I try to make it a point to continue learning that, because I don't want to ever stop learning about food and music or myself.
Absolutely. That's so rad. Can you tell us a bit about the podcast? I know you just mentioned it a little bit, but if anyone wanted to experience the pairings of the two, and
it's food and music is life, yes, and that means family. That's for family. Just because it means a lot of things. The family part it's the family cast. That's the name of it. So, but in the kitchen we have family meal. Or we have, we treat each other like a family sometimes, for better or worse. And the last part of that like little acronym or anagram or whatever is yes. It's food and music is life, yes, because we always say yes, chef, in the kitchen, or if I ask a question, I go like instead of like, did you hear me? I go yes. If I'm asking them something, they go yes.
Right.
So we say that a lot in the kitchen, in my kitchen.
Got it.
And my son's starting to work in the industry too, and sometimes he'll answer me back on a text like, yes, chef. I'm like, you don't have to do that. You don't have to say yes, chef to me. But it's funny when he does it. It's like kind of like I don't want him to say like yes, sir, or whatever. But but we do. So I was having all these rad conversations with music people or food people or people in the industry all the time already, because of just my two worlds. And some of the people have interconnected place jobs, or ex-musicians now are coffee roasters or distillers or own bars or whatever. And there's a lot in San Diego actually, but there's a lot all over the country of people that I've known from either doing music or food throughout my years. They've combined their careers and opened a brewery or a restaurant and stuff like that, or there's people who used to be in the industry because people have the industry jobs in the restaurants, and now they are they went full time with music or whatever. Or so there's just so many of my friends I was talking to. I was like, I'm just going to start recording these conversations and putting out a podcast during mid pandemic or something like that. I decided, woke up one Sunday morning. I was like, I'm just going to start the podcast and do something about food and music pairings. So I put on playlists on there and say like, this song would be this part of the menu, or this makes me feel like eating this food, or whatever the case may be. And I'm about 100 episodes on, and interviews, and there's like recipe stuff on there, and I talk about vinyl records on that show. And I just have fun doing it because I'm
Yeah.
obviously still chefing and still playing music. So I'm still personally pairing food and music together in my own life. So why not talk to people who are still doing it? You know, touring musicians, if they're coming through San Diego, I'll talk to them, or I'll go on location to my friends' bars or wherever I meet people where they are. So, and there's a lot of cool people in San Diego that I could just go talk to about it, or just get on the computer real quick and talk to somebody in Boston or whatever. So there's still I still have a lot of people on my list to talk to, but sometimes the names are almost too big for me to reach. But I'm still putting it out there that, you know, like Killer Mike from Run the Jewels owns food trucks and does a lot of stuff for his community, and he's an activist, but he's like one of the hugest rappers, but he's a food guy, you know. So there's always something to talk about. I talked to some of my music heroes, and they're like, I don't really know anything about food. I was like, oh, we don't really have to talk about food. It'll just naturally come up probably because you're a vegan, and we can talk about that lifestyle. And I know I can really speak into vegan food because we do a lot of cooking like that in the kitchen, and I can pair it with your music for you. They're like, I don't know. I'm like, let's just talk. Let's just talk, and it'll happen.
Yeah. And so did they get super surprised and excited once they actually get on? Because that was something that I've, discovered by talking to people.
Yeah, I think so. Because the more we talk, just like kind of like regular dialogue, the more stuff's going to come out about, your childhood. And they'll be like, see, that's where you got it. That's where you learned that's where you learned for your love of coffee, or that's why you became a vegan or whatever. Through the conversation, I can discover more about them and maybe even my own life. Who knows? Like, okay, they're like, what do you like about my music? They'll ask me. and it
of
helps
course
me discover my own journey. It helps me discover like why I actually like this drink or music or whatever. Because when I do the food and music pairing dinners or whatever, I'm like, okay, everybody, time to use 6 senses on this beer and food. Just like touch the glass. There's your touch. Smell it. Look at it. Those are 3 senses. And then we taste it. And then we talk about how tasting works. And then we get into a little bit of science of the body and, physiology. And when I'm bringing in your 6th sense, I'm not talking about like the movie. I'm talking about like, next time you hear this song, you're going to remember my tacos or whatever, or you're going to remember this pairing. And so we've just created this 3-way experience of next time you eat this taco or next time you drink this drink, you're going to remember this day. You're going to remember this moment. So we've magnetized this moment in time together, of course, but like, here's why. You're using all your senses at once. You are remembering this, you're with your friends or whatever. You're learning, we're all learning together. And I'm practicing hospitality and teaching, which are my main gifts. And you're eating good food. And listening to good music. And so those are the natural pairings of food and music working together.
I was just gonna ask, when do you do these pairings, and how can people get on your list and experience this?
I was doing a lot before the kitchen got shut down for a little bit, in pandemic times. So we were doing like all kinds of brunches and dinners with the food truck and stuff like that. Now I'm starting to pick it up again. I got one coming up on like June 11th up in North County. And we're going to be doing some summer food with different beers and stuff like that with Booze Brothers. So that's fun. I want to plan some more stuff with I want to get back into planning stuff with, I tried to rotate it. So like a brewery, a distillery, and coffee stuff. So coffee would be more on the brunch end. So
Got it.
Usually, sometimes we do it with dinner too, but rotate those, 3 times a quarter kind of thing. And whether that's at my kitchen or someone's venue or a brewery or a house, someone's house, we do a lot of stuff at people's houses too, or farms, of course. So it's just fun to keep that going, rotate it, because there's so many seasonal vegetables you can use and different, people have a release calendar for if they're releasing different beverages or anything like that. And I've worked with national brands too, but it doesn't seem like it's as fun in my heart because it's not like local San Diego, even if it's a San Diego company that's bigger than another one or whatever, it's still like, working with like a giant company from Texas or Colorado is like, that's cool. It's really good product, like really good bourbon or whatever it is. But like, I'd rather, like I said, keep the dollar here. Because eventually maybe my kids will be working here in the industry. So I want to make sure that those companies are still around, or the farm is still around, or whatever.
Yeah.
So I have fun doing it.
You've got my,
the next one's June 11th.
You've got my juices going. June 11th. Okay. And I would love to do this for the Design Coven. I'm already thinking about like 12 Senses is a boutique hotel here in Encinitas.
Mhm.
And everything she did with the design is completely sustainable and green. And she
Perfect.
designed the 4 rooms based on the 4 elements. And
Ooh,
I've been wanting to do a tour there. And she has an amazing rooftop, which would be beautiful for a dinner. So that might be
yeah,
something
totally.
that we could do in the
Count
works. I
me
would
in.
love
Yeah.
to. Sweet.
We can do it as lavish or as casual, like there's any level. It just depends on, you or the host or whatever, the client, um, plated or like an
Mhm.
open grill where they all stand around the grill and I talk about that whole process of fire and, those elements and like
Oh,
how
that'd be
the wind and
beautiful.
the air works down, so stuff like that. So, I really like my favorite is cooking outdoors
Yeah,
on an open fire, you know, with that kind of
perfect.
stuff. 'Cause
She's got a
that's
grill
how I
up there
grew
on
up.
the rooftop.
Oh my God. That's how I
So
grew
we got
up.
to do
It's just
that.
like, the backyard parties, whether it was with my Filipino friends or my Mexican family or whatever. It's like the grill is the grill is kind of, it's almost like a connection to like, if you can get weird for a second, it's like, you're
Yeah.
directly going into like the liquid magma of the earth. And it's like this portal,
Oh my gosh.
because you're like, just really like
So
you're
rad.
standing there. Everyone's standing there. Everyone's footing is in the same area. And we're all like really grounded because we're stuck talking to each other at this fire, and you see it at campfires too. Like people stare at the
Yeah.
fire.
Yeah.
When everyone's
And when you
talking, they're
go
like
into a
looking at the
trance.
fire. You
Yeah.
cannot help it. You do. It's true. And that's why I think that's the reason why we put on the video of the fire. Like
Yes.
if you want the fire, if you don't want to have a fireplace, you still want the video of the fireplace or whatever. Because, like, yeah, it's transful. And imagine then you get to cook food over that fire. Like, that's crazy. So that's really my number one favorite thing is the open fire thing. So I bring that element a lot to the dinners or the brunches or the event. And it smells good too.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. And just having that
Let's
fire
do
with
it.
food,
Yeah.
you can taste. Okay, sweet. We're doing it. I'm so excited. It's so rad. I love anything that's interactive like that. And I love that you connect with all the senses. Because when we're designing, we're also, I'm reminding them to connect with every sense, including smell and taste and the sound that we're bringing into these spaces. And you're doing it with all the things that you have.
Trying to.
I love it. So great. Well, are there any other events or things that we should be aware of to connect with you, to experience all the goodness that you're bringing into the world?
I'm talking with some of the I'm talking with more of the music venues now that kind of everything's backish to normal-ish. About going, sometimes there's a concert and there's no food places open if it's a later concert or whatever. Like a place like, for example, like Casbah or Brick by Brick, they have really late shows and the restaurants are closed down by like 9 or 10 that are all around them. Maybe a bar, but they already have bars, so whatever. But food, there's no food. Everyone's going to come out, either they're going to the show at 10 or if they're coming out at like 1 in the morning. That's why back in the day or like all over City Heights or wherever, there's like taco pop-ups outside of a liquor store or whatever. It's like, and those places are banging. Everyone wants that, like, or if I leave a music festival, there's a hot dog cart. It's like, I'm buying that hot dog,
Right?
So I'm trying to work more with that. Like, maybe not getting all the way with the food truck out there or whatever, but because we have the truck, we can possibly do that. But because there's not a lot of space on the streets for that nowadays. But just like figuring out a way to be hospitable to like concert goers and stuff like that, because the venues, they don't want to be cooking food, they don't want to be doing food stuff, like,
no.
obviously that's not
And
their
I'm
thing,
glad that you mentioned that with Casbah, because I know that's why Starlight was created to capture those people before and after. But during the shutdown of everything, I remember when Casbah would have tacos, and we would be there like every Thursday or Friday, and they would serve that food, and it was the best, and I wish they would bring it back. But
it's a no-brainer.
Doing something with.
So like, I've been talking to some more of the music places, like soda bar is a little bit different. They have concerts, but there's still a couple of food places around there that you can get, but not at late. I'm not talking about going somewhere and getting it. I'm talking
After
about like
hours.
being right there or being right in front,
Yeah.
Or indoors or whatever. So like just doing it. And also, of course, then I could help cater with the band too, like do the green room or whatever. So not that those venues have like huge green rooms, but like at least helping with the band.
It'd be nice to
somehow.
Yeah, I love it.
Let's do it.
Sweet. Okay. You're going to do that because that's going to be fantastic. And how
Because
can
we
people
spoke
find
it
you?
and it's happening.
But yes, we spoke it out and the magic is coming and
Okay.
we will be connecting with all those people.
Yeah. Yeah.
So how can people find you? Where can they follow you and connect with you?
Well, you can come to the kitchen for lunch during the week. Like it's not
Do you
like
have
open.
hours?
No.
Okay.
No. We just have family meal every day. So around lunchtime, Monday through Friday, basically, or Tuesday through Saturday, depending on the week.
Okay.
But we're always having lunch together, and I'm always inviting people in to come and try the food or just to eat with us or whatever. And some people have done it. They just come by, or they'll come in the back, and because we're always making something, we're always testing sauces and recipes. And I'll put a fork in your mouth and be like, "Yeah, here, try this." But that's a Harvest Kitchen. So harvestkitchen.com is the place, is the company. And so we're all over the place. We're everywhere from the border up to Joshua Tree and everything in between, Malibu and everything like that. So all kinds of crazy stuff with the company. And then I'm personally the Family Cast is the Instagram handle, the Family Cast. Those are my two main things outside of personal world, the personal life.
Cool.
Josh Kemble.
Cool.
Because I try to build separate Instagram profiles for the things I'm doing, because after when I was just like independent and popping up everywhere and doing gigs, I had it all on my main page, and then I was like, whoa, I feel like this is really crowding my life. I'm gonna make separate things from my cooking. Yeah, the podcast has one, the music has, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
People are like, I'm confused. I was like, it's all linked on there. It's fine.
It's
all you can find it really easily. Just go to my my main one or whatever. So those are I think those are the main things.
Okay.
And then that's how I collaborate with everybody, so whether it's podcasting or Harvest Kitchening or music or life. You can find me through you.
Yeah, you can find. Yeah, absolutely. And we'll have all your links in the show notes so people can find you and all
got
those
it.
things.
Okay.
And so we'll have everything there for them. So it makes it super easy. And then your podcast will be there, and you'll have your own page, so you can even share that with anyone as well. And and I didn't even mention how we met, but we met at a food event because my husband's in the food and beverage industry, and we just got to talking, and we found out we each had a podcast, and there it was.
That's right. Yeah. That was a cool event. Shout out to Danny in Liquid City. I had to, if you're into cheese, that's a good one to go to.
Yes. Absolutely. Cheese, food, all the things. Alrighty, Josh. Well, thank you so much for coming on, and I appreciate your time and just sharing your expertise in the back of the house, with hospitality, design, and all the wonderful things that you're doing. And we're going to be collaborating on some pretty rad events. So.
Yeah, anytime. Let me know how I can help you or help people. I like doing it.
Awesome. Yay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
You've been listening to the Holistic Interior Design Business Podcast. If it's one that you have been enjoying, please share with anyone else that you think can benefit from this knowledge, and leave us a 5-star review that helps us get seen and found by other new and aspiring interior designers. And if you're looking for mentorship, I invite you to join our club here at the Design Coven. It's a bridge between school and real life interior design. We get in much deeper there. We have virtual and in-person events, so everyone is welcome. You don't need to have a design degree to be part of it, just an interest in holistic interior design. I also want to thank our editor, Marcy Ferry, and Kinseth Thibodeau, who is our music composer. Until next time, be well, and we will see each other soon.